What's up, everybody? Time for the Japan trip from hell. And if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you can. I appreciate it. Thanks. What picture should we use for this? I put up a few pictures just because I, I remember people like my haters getting mad. You shouldn't show how you look on YouTube. It's not fair. What picture do you think? Okay, I actually didn't take many pictures this trip because I was so sick, but we'll just we'll go with this little guy. That's a pretty cool background though. That's a pretty nice background, right? We'll use that for the video. That was pretty cool. I got only a couple of cool background pictures while I was in Japan this time. Well, yeah, remember if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel. If you can, I appreciate it. Thanks. So like I said, the Japan trip from hell. Oh man, I feel like anything that could have went wrong with this trip did. It was, pretty much like a shit show from beginning to end. Um, which is sad because man, I've had a number of bad trips. I feel like I have incredibly bad luck, you could say, but Japan is interesting if you think about it because when I first went to Japan, I think it was like 7 years ago or something like that. Maybe that was when I first went to Japan. It was already so long after I did, nerd stuff, right? And I was really worried that, maybe by the time I finally got to go to Japan, that maybe I actually won't like Japan, right? And I was surprised that even though, I didn't play any video games, I'm not that much of a nerd anymore, which I know people get mad. I didn't play any video games this trip either. I just really don't play a lot of video games. I'm really not that much of a nerd. And so even when I went 7 years ago, I was worried that maybe I'm not enough of a nerd to appreciate Japan anymore. And, when I was originally going to school for Japanese, where I was still a little bit more of a nerd, I had only so recently in the so many years, up to when I tried to go to school again that I had quit games, right? But I was still playing dating games, right? So kind of nerdy stuff, right? But there was no way I would never be allowed to actually go for one of those foreign exchange students or something like that because of the dying stuff, and that's why I had to actually drop out of school because I was dying and they just would not pass me because I just missed too many days, right? And whatever the case, so then so many years and years down the line, I had the opportunity to go to Japan again, or to go to Japan, excuse me. And I was so shocked at how much I liked Japan, despite the fact that I'm a nerd, but I don't do nerdy things, right? Even though I very rarely make combo videos. I very rarely play. Funny enough, like I said, most people don't even know that all the stuff I've done in video games. There's that recent video I did where I showed there's like a couple and the wife or girlfriend started flirting with me, and they broke up after that. I guess they're together again now, but they broke up after that. It was whatever, you know. But it's funny. One of the guys in that video, he didn't even realize that I play video games or I'm a nerd, right? And I've said that, many times that video games is a very sort of hobby off in the distance for me. I don't play a lot of video games. It's not something most people in real life have no idea I even play video games, let alone that, you know, I won all those tournaments when I was younger while sick, let alone that I've done more for tech and fighting games in the history of fighting games than anyone else ever will. And it's kind of funny because that guy, one of those guys in that video, if you were following me on my trip to Japan, and we're going to go why Japan trip was so terrible this time, but I saw that Damascus fuck, right? And, we'll get into it, but, I was in a wheelchair my first day of Japan. It was not good, right? And I saw Damascus a little bit after that, and I can't believe that guy ran away from me. Ran away from me after I had just gotten out of a wheelchair. And that just shows me like how fucking bitch made the community is, that guy made money off of the stuff that I helped him with. And he couldn't even say anything after lying about me. You're afraid of me when I just started walking again, you fucking asshole. Right. But anyway, so the guy I was with right there, he's like, oh, you know that guy, Damascus? He's like, you play video games or something like that? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm the one that won all these tournaments. He's like, you did? And I showed him. And he's like, oh, holy shit, kind of thing. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, you made all this? You're the one that did this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, he had no idea that I even play video games, right? But, whatever the case, what I'm getting at for that, I kind of skipping around here is that, when I first went to Japan, I enjoyed Japan so much, despite the fact that I'm not a nerd, right? Or I'm a nerd, but I don't do a lot of nerdy things anymore, right? So that fear of maybe I won't like Japan was not. It didn't, come to fruition because I enjoyed Japan a lot despite not doing nerdy things, right? But certainly, of course, as time has gone on, I've had many more bad experiences in Japan. And Japan has quickly been losing some of its goodwill, let's say. Of course, I had that trip where I got screwed out of like thousands of dollars just from bad luck and all this kind of stuff and being sick, blah, 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 you know. And, but this trip is probably the worst trip I've ever been on in terms of bad luck. Probably even worse than the Turkey trip, where, the Turkey trip, oh my God, I went there and I got so sick. I got food poisoning so bad that I ended up in the hospital. I had to come back to America, and that's how I got COVID, the long COVID, right? Because I got the second time. So Turkey was a complete shit show. And of course, hotel people treated me badly, taxi screwing me out of money. Taxi drove away with my stuff at one point. That was a terrible trip. But this was even, I feel like this might even be worse. So anyway, long forward, what happened with this trip? Oh God, can I say anything good about Japan before I start with all the terrible fucking shit that was nonstop this trip to Japan? Was there anything good about this trip to Japan that sticks out? No. We're done. Let's start the bad shit. No, the only good thing I would say is that maybe as someone that likes fragrances, again, I'm not really into fragrances too much anymore. I do enjoy them, but I just don't have the money to really, you know, do anything with them. Although it's like a passing hobby, you could say. And but from a certain perspective, you could say I probably would be not into fragrances at all anymore if not for, you know, Desert Palm Tree Rose. You know who you are, who felt so bad for me that I lost my smell from COVID that, she started donating a lot of fragrances to me, which, of course, I don't have the money for it anyway, but she was very proactive in wanting me to be able to smell again. So, but I will say, going to Japan, when I consider the first time I was in Japan 7 years, fragrances were pretty hard to find and pretty slim. But I do think if you enjoy fragrances now, I think, there are places you can go. I was not disappointed when I looked for fragrances for a little bit. There's actually a lot of pretty unique things, even compared to America. Like, I think you would be pretty impressed unless you're looking for a lot of, like, say, designer stuff, because designer stuff is still kind of sparse. But in terms of like niche and indie stuff, they're pretty good now. And I was pleasantly surprised. If I was into fragrances, I would have spent more time looking at fragrances. But if you enjoy fragrances, Japan is not as bad as it used to be. Like, it's pretty good. But let's get into all the bad stuff. So why was Japan such a clusterfuck, dude? Of just nonstop bad stuff. And this might be interesting. I know it's such a long forward, but so first of all, of course, I've been very sick this year. Probably the worst health year I've had since I couldn't walk. Maybe since I was dying. It has not been good, and I know I showed the blood tests and everything like that. So I had the worst cluster headache period since, who knows, maybe since I first got sick or something like that. And I think that's why COVID once again got me so bad this summer. So I've been in and out of the hospital consistently, right? Which really sucks because every time I get COVID, I lose a bunch of hair, and of course, so now my hair sucks again, which really sucks because I was so happy that after all these times that I've had COVID, long COVID, whatever, that my hair had finally started growing back thick, and then, well, my hair's coming out again for all this shit. So, that's very disappointing. But anyway, so basically, I did that lung test, because I've been so sick since the summer. And somehow they did like a cystic fibrosis test, which was even like positive for being abnormal, which was a real kind of hectic thing because it's like, oh my God, now I have cystic fibrosis. What the fuck? Another thing that's going to kill me. And, oh man. I'm still sick even as we speak, right? And they're basically like, that was a clusterfuck. I had to go to the urgent care. And then I was too sick for urgent care. And this is like a day before I go on the plane, right? And they're like, don't worry. And they're like, we don't actually think you have cystic fibrosis. It's probably just a disinfection that you've had since the summer with the COVID might have just spread to your lungs, and it's like, it's fucking up the test, but we don't actually think you have cystic fibrosis. But anyway, so you're just fucked as usual. And they're like, what you could do is you could try to take antibiotics, but you can't really take antibiotics because you were dying from C. diff. So they're like, we'll give you some antibiotics, but don't take it unless you absolutely think you have to take it because, C. diff and dying and stuff like that, right? Not fun. So anyway, where am I? So the plane ride there was a clusterfuck. Delta fucked up my seat somehow. I'm still fighting with them to get some money back about it. Anyway, I was able to get my seat back because they had given away my seat again or for some shit like that, and they moved me. Got my seat back, right, and then so I had the whole row to myself, right. Then basically there's this grandma on the plane, right, and for some reason there was multiple empty seats, but the grandma, I think they didn't want her to walk to her seat because they're like, oh, don't walk back to your seat, just sit next to him. And I was like, what? Because I had a whole row to myself. I want to lay down. I'm fucking tired and sick. And so they sat the grandma next down to me, and I'm like, I don't think this is your seat because I'm looking at the plane thing and it says it's empty. And they're like, just let her sit next to you so she doesn't walk. And I'm like, what? Ugh. So anyway, I end up getting real sick on the plane to the point that they clear the back of the plane for me. I get so fucked up, right? So the flight there was terrible, right? They cleared the back of the plane for me. I got so fucked up. So I end up in a wheelchair, and first day or so of Japan, I'm in a wheelchair basically, and they put me in this fucking taxi that was cost me $110 to get to the hotel. I was so fucked up, whatever. But so that was not a good way to start the trip, right? And then, of course, I think it was a couple days or something. I don't know, so many few days after that, the Damascus thing happened. And I already went over that. I was like, oh my God. But then after that, then I got food poisoning. So then I was really fucked up again for a while. Food poisoning in Japan. What the fuck is going on? I've said before that Japan food is one of the things that I was also scared when I first went to Japan, that I'm like, oh my God, maybe I won't like the food. And then I went there and I'm like, oh my God, the food is awesome. It's hard to find anything that I don't like in Japan, right? This trip was not like that, right? I got food poisoning. I was fucked up. It was just like I was like getting dizzy that night that I got the food poisoning, and I got it at a Sukiya, I think it is, if you know what that is, right? So I only ate Sukiya once because the one time I ate Sukiya, I got a fucking food poisoning, right? Which was terrible, right? Because I actually do like Sukiya, but I'm like, never, nope. I'm like, nope, we're not having it again this trip after that. I was dizzy. I was all over the place that night, dude. So I was sick for a while from that. I somehow got hair in my food, which is again weird. A big, long, black piece of hair. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So thankfully they gave me my money back, but that was disgusting. I was actually even given the wrong order, which I didn't realize till I got back. I brought it back to the hotel to eat um, my food, and it was I'm trying to think. God, it happened a while ago. So what was it? It was so I got some ebi fillets at McDonald's, right? And so it was in the ebi fillet wrappers, but it was they put chicken patties on it. So I don't know if the person just grabbed the wrong thing. So I got two chicken sandwiches when it's supposed to be two ebi fillets. So I guess the guy must have grabbed the wrong patties. I'm like, what is going on with this trip? I just got food poisoning. Then I got hair in my food. Then the next meal, they gave me the wrong thing. I'm like, this is crazy. And I can also say that almost every fucking Gente item that I ate this year was disgusting. I hated it. I'm like, what is going on? I went to a restaurant and I tried something and it was so bad that if I was not at a restaurant, I would have spit out whatever I ate. It was just, I'm like, I can't believe what is going on, dude. Never had an experience like this in Japan ever. I have had an experience where there's some food that I like, but it's very rare. This trip was nothing but 90% of the new food that I tried I hated, and of course the food poisoning was again. I also, which is incredible to say, that I also got some new kind of COVID while I was there, which was funny because before I went on this trip, my doctors were like, "Well, Clayton, the good thing is, with as sick as you are right now, and you have long COVID again from this thing that you just got in August or whatever, they're like, you should be good for this trip. You should have enough immunity from actually getting any new COVID or flu while you're in Japan." Well, that was not the case because I got fucked up by some kind of flu COVID thing, right? I was so fucked up from it, dude. Like the staff actually checked on me and they're like, "Sir, we do have to eventually like clean your room." Because I was fucked up, dude, stuck in the room sick so much, dude. Like I couldn't even like, I actually like, you know, I couldn't like put on deodorant. Like my lymph nodes were so swollen. You know, if you've ever had that happen, you actually get like a flu or an infection so bad that your lymph nodes. I couldn't even put on deodorant. I was so fucked up, and it was about, God, I think it was about 10 days till I could eat a full meal again after that, which sucked because I think it was if you actually were following me on Instagram or something like that or whatever. I love on rakute, and I couldn't, and there's all you can eat rice and everything like that. And I'm like, I can't even finish just the regular meal right now, dude. So, whatever. I got some new kind of flu COVID while I was there. Although, admittedly, I can say that other people in Japan that I met that were there, because there was this one girl who, I mean, oh my God, I thought she was like an OnlyFans model or something, but definitely a very hot girl because the night that I was like getting really fucked up, she wanted to do something with me and she's like, "We should go right now." And she had a bit of a cough too, right? And I'm like, "Dude, I'm coughing too. Like I think I'm coming down with something bad." Right? And so it's maybe it's a good thing we didn't do something. I mean, this girl was she was definitely very attractive, but we would have been fucked up together because then, whatever, she was in bed for a couple of days herself too. She got some bad flu, and then multiple other people in the area said that they were in bed for days too. So whatever the fuck that was, fuck me. Um, um, what other kind of stuff? So yeah, I mean, I was just sick the entire time. It was just terrible, and I guess something that this might be the more interesting thing. I guess if you're thinking about Japan, I have never experienced this in Japan. So normally, um, say Shibuya is the more gaijin kind of part, right? You know, excuse me. And Shinjuku doesn't have as many gaijin, and that's where my hotel was. Excuse me. Or hotels. Or actually, wait, before I start this, I should say, if you want to see something funny on OnlyFans, one of the hotel, oh yeah, okay, well there you go. That's another bad thing. The fucking Appa hotel, my fucking heater broke. And I'm still waiting for them to get me back. They would not give me a new room at the Appa when my heater broke. It was not working properly. 15 degrees fucking Celsius in there. And so they just gave me a portable heater. So that's recorded. I'm like, dude, you can't give me a discount or anything. And they're like, no. So I've sent a message since I've gotten back in America. And I've basically been like, I might just go to my credit card company. So I had not thought about that. But once I got back to America, someone was like, well, you know what? If they don't want to give you a discount or something for this, go to your credit card company since you recorded it. So yeah, that was another bullshit thing. Heater broke at the Appa, wasn't working properly, so they gave me a portable fucking heater, 15 degrees Celsius in the room, ridiculous. And then the other hotel, not necessarily a bad thing, but a funny thing. If you want to go on my OnlyFans, smallest Japanese toilet I've ever had the pleasure of taking a shit in. I could not fit my ass and my dick in the fucking hole. My dick was too big. I'm not joking, dude. It was comical. I showed some people on OnlyFans. If you're gay, they got a good laugh of it, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's so big and thick," But whatever, if you want to look at it, but kind of comical. I don't know if that makes it funny, but it actually became pretty annoying to go to the bathroom because I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't fit my penis into the freaking toilet." It was insane. But if you want to look at that, okay, where else are we? So going back to the Shinjuku, tends to not have as many gaijin. There was so many fucking bad vibes and weird fucking foreigners when I was staying in Shinjuku this year. I have never met so many fucking weird foreigners in Japan in my entire life, and it was such a bad vibe. So many fucking people dick sucking themselves and trying to be the coolest foreigner there, and it was so weird, dude. And if you don't know anything about Japan, right? I would say that it's a kind of like imagine like say you're younger. I don't do drugs, I don't drink or anything like that myself, but when you're younger, there was this thing I think they called it like purple drink or something like that, and just basically the youth, kids, whatever you want to call it, getting fucked up on cough medicine, right? People do that in Japan, right? The teenagers, the youth, whatever, yeah, teenagers, yeah, teenagers, whatever, they get fucked up on cough medicine, right? It was an absolute fucking like it's a fucking travesty of what's going on in Japan right now. It's like out of control how fucked up people are on the fucking Magicon cough medicine. It was like disturbing. And a lot of the foreigners, their whole entire clout, and I'm not joking, is basically, and it sounds sad, is basically just being a plug and either bringing in some kind of drug to Japan to like fuck up these girls and get them drunk enough that they'll fuck them, or just so fucking high on fucking Magicon that they can rape them or whatever. It's absolutely insane, dude. It's just crazy. It's just really fucking weird and disturbing, dude. Like I was like, what? Like I was like watching people. I'm like, this is really weird. And the weirdest thing is too, I had some foreigners come to me and they were like, you're suspicious, basically. They're like, we don't see you doing all these drugs and you don't drink. What are you doing here? And one of the guys, dude, or one of the guys, multiple of the guys, but one guy's especially was such a fucking creep and such a fucking weirdo. He basically tried to spread a rumor that I was an undercover cop to get people to hate me. And I even recently, just I guess it was a couple of days ago, had a girl from Kabukicho or whatever. She even also told me that this guy was the one going around spreading rumors about you. And people, I guess the thing is, some of these fucking asshole fucking foreigners that have no life, they're like, it's not fair. The blonde hair guy is too good looking and he won't have to pay for sex like we do. So we have to get everyone to hate him. And I can say that I've never had so many people treat me so fucking weirdly when I've been in Japan. I literally had girls that I was supposed to go do something with, and then literally they would never talk to me again. They wouldn't even look at me. And it was really weird and creepy. And I had multiple people say that, yeah, people are like spreading lies about you, that you're an undercover cop or you're doing something like this. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys? What is going on? This is so weird. Like I said, I just got a message a couple days ago that, oh, it's that Jason guy. Yeah, he's mad at you because you talked to that girl he liked. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck, dude? Weird motherfuckers. Like, I was in such a bad mood with some of these foreigners with how fucking weird they were acting. And it's really disturbing, dude, because obviously in Japan, I guess you could say anywhere in the world, people have sex younger than maybe is politically correct or something like that. But when you see people that they're basically just drugging people and getting them so drunk or so fucked up on drugs just so they can fuck them, that's like basically just like raping them, right? And it's really fucking disturbing. And I was watching it and I'm like, because I was like, I'd watch people and I'm like, I think that guy's a fucking plug or a druggie or something. He's like one of these guys. He's just trying to fuck all these girls and like rape them basically by getting them so fucked up. And I started like watch. It was so weird and like creepy, right? And I was even talking to some other people, and they were like, yeah, they're like one guy. I didn't meet the guy because I guess the story happened right before I got there. That he got the girl so fucked up on like the cough medicine, and then she died while he was fucking her. And then the Yakuza found out about it and killed him, I guess they said. And so I was like, well, I don't know, man. It was disturbing. It was just the vibe was bad. So many people were acting weird, and it's such a bad time, And I was a step away. And the weirdest things, and so I know some foreigners that I've met on other trips there, and even they were like, "This is the worst trip I've ever had to Japan." They're like, there's too many weird foreigners in this, like around Kabukicho or Shinjuku right now. All they're doing is drugs, and it's just like they're getting people fucked up, and they're all trying to spread these weird stories about clout. Like this guy talking about he's a millionaire 1 minute. Oh, he told me he's a millionaire. Oh, he told me this thing. And even this girl, she told me, oh man, this guy doesn't do anything. She's like, he's just a homeless guy. He's a homeless American that had all his stuff taken, and now he's just a druggie. And she's like, he is fun to do drugs with. He's like, but he's a fucking loser. And he's like, he just hates you because you're good looking, and he didn't want anyone to get with you because he's a homeless loser. I just couldn't believe. I felt so bad. Like one girl, me and her were supposed to hang out, and she was really attractive. And then when she came to hang out, she would not even like look me in the eyes. She was so fucking cold to me and so fucking like I was like, whoa, what the fuck did I do? And yeah, I guess just what are you gonna do? A bunch of foreigners. They had spread some rumors to me to basically anyone in the immediate area that they should not talk to me. And it was a really bad vibe. And at one point, I can say how mad I was. I was so mad because I was so sick the entire time, and I met so many fucking weird people that this is to quantify or to show you how mad I was. I was a step away from actually searching on Google how much trouble am I going to get into if I get in a fight with one of these motherfuckers. Because in that area, especially Kabukicho or whatever, it's very rare to see someone actually get in trouble. And I do think it's more dangerous in that area than it has been in years past. And because they closed off the square, and so now when people actually get angry at each other, they don't have anywhere else to go. And I've never seen so many fights in that area in such a short period of time. I'm talking about blood spilled, blood just all over the place in a couple of these fights. Fucking kids, basically, youth, teenagers, basically just foaming at the mouth from this like from this cough medicine, going fucking crazy. And I'm like, this is really fucking creepy right now, dude. And it just is. It was terrible. And there was definitely some foreigners. I'm like, if this guy, like I said, I was a step away from. I'm gonna look at Google because that really fucking bothers me. It's one thing, obviously, again, it's not politically correct, maybe, but I think everyone knows, not just in Japan, but anywhere, people are having sex, younger than maybe you should, or something like that, or than maybe they say you do. But to see people getting people so fucked up just so they can, like, fuck them, basically, it's really fucking creepy and it's weird. And unfortunately, that area, the police don't really do much, right? So, because they only have so much power because of the Yakuza, and there's some areas are actually, privately owned property, right? It's not actually like, the government or something like that. And that really bothered me. And I've talked about, so yeah, I was a step away from looking at the, you know, Google to see how much trouble I could potentially get into. Because if I see one of these guys and I see him trying to do something to somebody, you know, um, I was like, something might happen, especially, I know this guy's been shady to me. But then I was like, oh God, if I actually look it up on Google, I think it might actually happen if he like tries to do something, right? If he like rubs me the wrong way. Even I said that Damascus thing, right? When I saw that motherfucker walk away, I was like, oh my God, imagine if I see Damascus one more time. I was in a pretty grumpy mood when I could actually leave the hotel because I spent most of the time in the fucking hotel. And so that was a bad vibe. I guess I did. And it's sad too because when you actually talk to some of the people too, I'll say that maybe I learned more lore about some of the regular people there, and I actually even felt bad one day. Like I actually went back to my hotel, and I didn't cry, but I did have tears in my eyes, like listening to some of these people talk about all their friends that have killed themselves and their friends that have died, and that it was definitely dark, and I felt bad. You know what I mean? And I know I was with this one foreign guy, and me and him were one of the only people that tried to help this kid when he was fucking basically foaming at the mouth. And but he was doing a lot of drugs too. and he wants to live in Japan. And I told him, I was like, dude, what you did was a good thing. And I'm like, don't like lose that, because so many of these other people just watch that, and you actually helped that person. Like, obviously he's well, he was getting fucked up himself, but he still was not numb enough to actually try to help somebody. And I'm like, that was good that you actually came to help too. And because a lot of people just stood around and watched it. And to think that it's very possible that that teenager was fucked up because of a fucking foreigner giving him too much fucking cough medicine, just trying to get him fucked up, right? So that was dark, I think, and that bothered me and put me in a bad mood when I actually was going out. Um, I just think when I think about Japan, I think of I've said before, I don't consider Japanese people nice, but I do think they're generally non-malicious, which is nice. There's not like a lot of like evil intent, let's say, to harm others. And I think this trip was different in that there was more maliciousness. I think I felt, which was disappointing, because I don't like the malicious kind of stuff, because it's just the way I am, right? I don't think I don't think maliciously doing something and is good. I would hope you don't either. But other bad vibes. God, my friend has been trying to get me into this kick stuff, and I don't care about all this kick stuff. And somehow people were trying to get me involved in his drama. And I had some guy, basically, he came up to me and tried to like light a cigarette in my face. He's like, I knew that you would be here, and you know that I knew that you would be here, and I know what you're doing here. And I was like, motherfucker, my hotel is right there. What are you talking about? And he's like, oh. And I'm like, what are you doing? I don't do drugs. I don't drink. If anything, I was actually, it was funny when he came up to me, I was just watching the escort area, because I think it's funny watching the escorts try to get all these guys to fuck them, basically. It's like interesting. It's like I think it's interesting. It's like a culturally interesting thing to me. I kind of just like laughed because it was like right next to my hotel. So before I went back in, and I'm like, you're really trying to imply that I'm like fucking all these escorts or something like that. I'm like, which I've said before. I have done one escort before, and it was terrible, to be honest with you. But I did it just because I've never done it in my life, so I thought I may as well try, and it was not good. It was so bad, and I said the story. It was so bad that I've thought that maybe I have to try it again, because that was not the thing. I can't believe people would ever pay for that, but I didn't do it again. No, so I was just too sick to do anything. God, I mean, like I said, when the I mean, there were some. I know people want funny sex stories. I mean, God, I mean, there were some girls. I mean, God, one girl, like, she wanted to hold the other girl's hand while she sucks a dick, because she's such a like a little baby. I mean, that's pretty hot. I mean, that's pretty cool, you know. um, but I didn't really do anything, generally speaking. I was just so sick most of the time. But lure. I mean, the sex story. I mean, God, there's one girl. She was out there, and she had like a game with a guy that basically, and she was saying that like, well, if he's not around, I can just fuck, basically, right? We can fuck. But if the guy is around, he's almost like the pimp or something. It was weird. He has to watch us, and he wants to dress as a schoolgirl himself while he watches us. And that was just Japan. I mean, okay, weird shit. That was weird. I mean, God, some of these girls are making so much money though. Like, one girl was telling me that, they're supposed to start you off at 18, but if you have sex with the boss, they start you off earlier, and you can imagine how much earlier, many, many years, you could say. Not many, many years, but a number, quite a few, more than a few numbers of years. And dude, oh my God, these girls must be making so much money, because she was telling me, she's like, oh yeah, I make $500 every time, $500 a pop. And she's like, it sucks because he's so ugly and he's so fat. And he's like, but it's only 5 minutes. And so I just close my eyes and I just wait for it to be over. I'm like, can you imagine making that much money at whatever age you want to assume I'm talking about? $500 for 5 minutes. I talked to another girl. She was like, "Oh, I tried to do that guy, but he's just too ugly, and I got grossed out, so I couldn't do it." So I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're talking about quotation marks, positive things, I learned more lure of people, met more hosts, host boys, even former host boys, and but generally speaking, the vibe was just weird. It was so many bad people, and it really bothered me to the point that yeah, I was like, oh my god, if someone rubs me the wrong way, I was tempted, like I said, how many times I said it, to actually go to Google and be like, do I need to double check Google how much trouble I'm going to get in if one of these foreigners, I see them doing something bad to somebody or they rub me the wrong way and I'm going to have to fucking do something to them. You know, I was not in a good mood when I could go out and I was not sick in the fucking hotel. Then my friend was trying to get me involved in this kick drama basically. And I don't give a fuck about all this streamer shit. I don't know if you guys ever watch this streamer shit. It is so fucking fake and it's almost like a wrestling thing to me. It's almost like a wrestling thing, and I don't know what wrestling is like anymore, but I watched wrestling as a kid and almost like working yourself into a shoot, they used to say. Like it's so much fake drama and then the drama becomes real because they don't even know it's fake is anymore. And so it's like I'm watching this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to get in. And if you saw, there was that kick streamer stuff that I was people trying to get me involved in, and that guy tried to talk shit about me, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this, dude. I don't drink. I don't do drugs like you guys. I don't want to get involved in any of this drama. I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't care about fake drama, people getting drunk, starting drama, all this shit. Like, get this shit away from me, dude. You are very confused if you think I'm this kind of person, dude. And it was people tried to get me involved in that, and I'm like, nope, I don't care. You know, I've even it was like, well, you know that guy, he's your friend. And I'm like, well, yeah, we've known each other a long time, and I've told him I don't want to do any fucking stream shit with him if this is how he's being because it's disingenuous when he does this shit, and I am not going to be associated with this shit. So that was putting me in a bad mood too. I'm like, don't get me involved in this drama. I just fucking came to this place and I'm in a fucking wheelchair. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit, dude. So anyway, besides that, then on the way back home to Japan, Delta fucked up and gave away my flight, so that sucked. So that was a clusterfuck. That was basically hours and hours trying to get my flight back, and I'm still waiting for Delta to respond to. I want money back for all this hassle they gave me. They offered me basically like $35 for all of the shit that happened. And I'm like, I need more than $35. I'm sorry. You need to give me a little bit more than $35 for giving away my fucking just for giving away this flight that I had to fucking fix, you fucking assholes. Oh, and I dropped my phone. Yeah. I dropped my phone. Yeah, okay, so it's oh god. I guess I could fucking turn on the camera, right? Turn on the camera, you can see. I dropped my phone. So after I made that one video at Tokyo, I'll show you. Okay, so I dropped my phone. So now I need a new phone. Okay, can you see it correct? Oh, yeah, see. It fucking broke the fucking. You see all that? Or where am I? Where? Oh, yeah, right there. See? Fucking cracked it. Whole thing cracked, and so now all these keys are fucked up on that area. I can't believe I dropped my fucking phone. This case did nothing. Cracked it. Now it's kind of wonky, and the magnet thing is kind of wonky sometimes now. So now I need a new fucking phone. Great. Still works at least, but now it's kind of wonky, cracked screen, and some of the keys. If you're pressing in that area, they're kind of wonky. So yeah, no, I need a new phone now. Wow, great, sweet. So yeah, trip was nothing but bad shit. To be honest with you, terrible time. But you know what? That's life. What are you gonna do? Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel. If you want to appreciate things, if you want to support the channel, give me a Christmas gift, PayPal, Super Chat, PayPal, whatever. I know this video is long, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, it was a disappointing trip. I mean, there's other stuff that happened, but it's just bad. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, and okay, just because I just got a message on Instagram. Yes, while I was there as well, Yes, somebody was going around lying about me on Instagram, messaging people that I know to get them to hate me too, which was weird. I don't know if that was from my friend's kick stuff, trying to get me involved in kick shit, which I don't want to be involved in, or if it's just regular drama of people stealing my pictures, starting drama. Or it could be both. But yes, I had multiple people that said people were messaging them on my Instagram, and oh my god, like I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. Like, get a fucking life. My god. So that was a hassle trying to figure out what the fuck was going on with that. Yeah, anyway, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.